The Lernaean Hydra is one of the most famous and fearsome creatures in Greek mythology. Known for its many heads and deadly abilities, this monstrous serpent-like beast posed a significant challenge to anyone who dared to confront it. The Hydra's most notable appearance is in the myth of Hercules, where it becomes one of the 12 labors he must complete to atone for his past deeds. This video will explore the origins, characteristics, and mythological significance of the Lernaean Hydra, as well as its lasting impact on culture and symbolism. The Lernaean Hydra, a creature of ancient Greek mythology, was said to have been born from the union of two of the most terrifying beings in the mythological world, Typhon and Echidna. Typhon, often described as a monstrous giant with 100 dragon heads, was considered the most fearsome of all the creatures in Greek mythology, even challenging the gods themselves. Echidna, known as the mother of monsters, was half woman, half serpent, and gave birth to many of the most dangerous beasts in the mythological canon, including the Chimera, Cerberus, and of course, the Hydra. The Hydra's birthplace and domain were the swamps and marshes near the lake of Lerna, in the region of Argolid, southern Greece. This location wasn't just a random setting for the Hydra, it held deep mythological significance. Lerna was considered one of the entrances to the underworld, a place where the veil between the world of the living and the dead was thin. The swampy, mist-covered landscape was an eerie and ominous setting, befitting the nature of the Hydra. The creature's association with this liminal space between life and death further heightened its terrifying aura, reinforcing the idea that it was not just a physical threat, but also a symbolic guardian of dark and mystical forces. In its earliest depictions, the Hydra was portrayed as a gigantic serpent with many heads, although the exact number of these heads varied in different stories. Some sources mention it had 9 heads, while others describe it with as many as 50 or even 100. However, the most commonly accepted version of the myth gives the Hydra 9 heads, 8 of which were mortal, and 1 that was immortal. The Hydra's connection to water, serpents, and regeneration linked it to the primordial chaos that the ancient Greeks often associated with the sea and the unknown depths of nature. The Hydra wasn't just a mindless beast. It was a deliberate, almost elemental force of destruction. Its role as a guardian of the underworld's entrance meant that it symbolized the challenges that awaited those who sought to confront the mysteries of life and death. In this way, the Hydra was not merely a monster, but a representation of the ancient Greeks' fears and uncertainties about the world beyond their own. Its existence in the dark, damp swamps of Lerna made it a creature of dread, one that lurked at the edge of the known world, guarding secrets that were never meant to be uncovered by mortals. What made the Lernaean Hydra such a fearsome opponent was not just its sheer size or the number of heads it possessed, but its extraordinary and almost supernatural abilities. The Hydra's most well-known trait was its regenerative power. Every time one of its heads was severed, 2 more would grow back in its place. This ability made the Hydra an almost invincible adversary, as any attempt to kill it only made it stronger and more dangerous. This regenerative capability can be seen as symbolic of problems or challenges that grow more difficult the more one tries to solve them, a theme that resonates across many cultures and eras. Additionally, the Hydra's breath was said to be deadly, capable of killing anyone who inhaled it. The creature's blood and venom were equally potent, so much so that even its scent could bring death to anyone who came too close. The Hydra's blood was later used by Heracles to poison his arrows, making them lethal weapons that no enemy could withstand. The combination of these deadly traits made the Hydra not just a physical threat, but a representation of death itself, creeping silently and inevitably towards those who ventured too close to its lair. The Hydra's connection to water also played a significant role in its characterization. In many cultures, water is both a life-giving force and a symbol of chaos and destruction. The Hydra, dwelling in the swamps of Lerna, was closely linked to this duality. It represented the unpredictable and dangerous aspects of nature, particularly the fear of drowning or being overwhelmed by forces beyond human control. This connection to water, combined with its snake-like form, also linked the Hydra to other ancient serpent myths, where snakes were often seen as symbols of death, rebirth, and the cyclical nature of life. The battle between Heracles and the Lernaean Hydra is one of the most famous episodes in Greek mythology, and it serves as a crucial turning point in the hero's 12 labors. Heracles, known for his immense strength and bravery, was tasked with defeating the Hydra as his second labor. This task was given to him by King Eurystheus, who hoped that the difficulty of the challenge would lead to Heracles' downfall. Eurystheus knew that the Hydra was no ordinary beast, and that it would require not just strength, but also cunning and perseverance to defeat it. Upon arriving at the swamps of Lerna, Heracles soon realized that defeating the Hydra would be far more difficult than he had anticipated. Armed with his club and sword, Heracles began his attack by lopping off one of the Hydra's many heads. However, to his horror, 2 new heads immediately sprouted from the stump of the severed one. As Heracles continued to decapitate the Hydra's heads, he found himself facing an ever-increasing number of them, each one more fearsome and dangerous than the last. Understanding that he could not defeat the Hydra through sheer force alone, Heracles called upon his nephew Iolaus to assist him in the battle. Iolaus, a skilled charioteer and loyal companion to Heracles, devised a plan to prevent the Hydra's heads from regenerating. Using a burning torch, Iolaus cauterized the stumps of the severed heads as Heracles cut them off, effectively sealing the wounds and stopping the growth of new heads. This clever tactic eventually allowed Heracles to overcome the Hydra's regenerative powers. However, the battle was far from over. The Hydra's final and most dangerous head, the one that was immortal, posed the greatest challenge. This head could not be killed by any means, as it was impervious to weapons and fire. Heracles, realizing that he could not destroy the head, decided to bury it beneath a massive rock, trapping it for all eternity. By doing so, he effectively neutralized the Hydra's threat, completing his second labor and proving his resourcefulness as well as his strength. The defeat of the Lernaean Hydra by Heracles was more than just a physical victory. It was a symbolic triumph over chaos, death, and the insurmountable challenges that life often presents. Heracles' success in this labor demonstrated his ability to confront and overcome the seemingly impossible, reinforcing his status as one of the greatest heroes in Greek mythology. Moreover, the Hydra's defeat by fire and stone, a combination of the elemental forces of nature, symbolized the hero's mastery over both the natural and supernatural worlds. The Lernaean Hydra's symbolism is deeply intertwined with the themes of chaos, regeneration, and the eternal struggle against overwhelming odds. Throughout history, this mythical creature has come to represent more than just a physical monster. It embodies complex ideas about the nature of challenges, the persistence of evil, and the human condition's endless battle against these forces. In ancient Greece, the Hydra was more than just a fearsome opponent for Heracles. It was a manifestation of the unpredictable and often malevolent forces of nature. The swamps of Lerna, where the Hydra resided, were seen as dangerous and mysterious places, filled with treacherous waters and hidden dangers. The Hydra's many heads, which multiplied when cut, symbolized the idea that some problems only grow worse when confronted directly. This made the Hydra an apt metaphor for struggles that seem insurmountable, where each attempt to solve a problem only leads to more complications. In this way, the Hydra became a symbol of the chaotic and uncontrollable aspects of life, which ancient Greeks believed were an inevitable part of the human experience. The regenerative ability of the Hydra, where two heads would grow back for everyone that was cut off, also carried significant symbolic weight. This trait represented the idea of resilience in the face of adversity, but in a twisted, almost malignant form. The Hydra's heads multiplying each time they were cut suggested that some challenges are not just persistent, but can actually become stronger when opposed. This concept can be seen in various aspects of life, such as social or political issues that seem to become more complex and difficult to resolve the more they are addressed. The Hydra, therefore, came to symbolize the idea of problems that are self-perpetuating and can grow out of control if not handled with care and wisdom. Moreover, the Hydra's connection to poison, its venomous breath and blood, added another layer to its symbolism. Poison has long been associated with treachery, corruption, and insidious dangers that can harm or kill without direct confrontation. The Hydra's venomous nature suggested that some threats are not just overt and physical, but also subtle and pervasive, spreading harm in ways that are not immediately visible. This made the Hydra a powerful symbol of corruption and decay, representing dangers that can infiltrate and undermine from within, much like how poison spreads through a body. In the broader context of Greek mythology, the Hydra's defeat by Heracles was seen as a triumph of order over chaos, of civilization over the wild and untamed forces of nature. Heracles, as a hero, represented the human capacity to impose order on a chaotic world, to confront and overcome the dangers that lurk in the shadows. The Hydra, with its many heads and its regenerative abilities, was the epitome of these dangers, seemingly endless and impossible to defeat. By slaying the Hydra, Heracles symbolized the victory of human ingenuity and perseverance over the destructive forces that threatened to overwhelm us. This made the myth of the Hydra not just a story of a hero's triumph, but also a metaphor for the human struggle against the often overwhelming challenges of life. The Hydra's symbolism has persisted long beyond the confines of Greek mythology, finding resonance in various cultural, literary, and philosophical contexts. In literature, the Hydra has often been used as a metaphor for complex problems that seem to defy resolution. For example, in political discourse, the Hydra might represent a corrupt system or a persistent social issue that only grows more entrenched the more it is fought against. The idea of a Hydra-headed problem has become a common way to describe situations where efforts to address one aspect of an issue only lead to the emergence of new challenges. In art, the Hydra has been depicted in various forms, from ancient Greek pottery to Renaissance paintings, each reflecting the creature's symbolic meaning in the context of the time. In these works, the Hydra is often shown as a massive, multi-headed serpent, its heads writhing in every direction, emphasizing its chaotic and fearsome nature. The image of Heracles battling the Hydra, with Iolaus by his side, has become iconic, representing the eternal struggle between good and evil, order and chaos. This imagery has been so powerful that it has persisted for centuries, continuing to inspire artists, writers, and thinkers to this day. The Hydra's influence extends even into modern times, where it has been adopted as a symbol in various fields, including psychology and politics. In psychology, the Hydra can represent the concept of psychological trauma or mental health issues that, when confronted or suppressed, can manifest in new and more complex ways. The idea of a problem that grows stronger when faced head-on resonates with the challenges of dealing with deeply ingrained psychological issues where simple solutions often prove inadequate. This makes the Hydra a potent symbol for the complexity and resilience of the human psyche, as well as the difficulties inherent in confronting one's inner demons. Politically, the Hydra has been used as a metaphor for the persistence of certain issues or threats, such as corruption, terrorism, or systemic injustice. The idea that cutting off one head leads to the growth of two more has been applied to describe situations where efforts to eliminate a problem only result in its proliferation. This has made the Hydra a symbol of the challenges faced by governments and societies when dealing with entrenched issues that seem impossible to fully eradicate. The use of the Hydra in this context underscores the need for innovative and comprehensive approaches to problem solving, rather than relying on brute force or simplistic solutions. In popular culture, the Hydra has also made numerous appearances, often as a villainous creature in fantasy literature, films, and video games. Its role as a formidable and nearly invincible opponent has made it a popular choice for depicting epic battles between heroes and monsters. The Hydra's ability to regenerate and grow stronger after each defeat makes it a symbol of resilience, albeit in a sinister form. And its presence in modern storytelling continues to evoke the themes of struggle, persistence, and the fight against overwhelming odds. In conclusion, the Lernaean Hydra's symbolism is rich and multifaceted, extending far beyond its role as a monster in Greek mythology. It represents the chaos and unpredictability of life, the persistence of challenges that grow more difficult when confronted, and the subtle, insidious dangers that can undermine even the strongest efforts. The Hydra's legacy as a symbol of these concepts has endured for centuries, influencing literature, art, psychology, and politics. Its story and the themes it embodies continue to resonate with audiences today, reminding us of the eternal struggle against the forces that threaten to overwhelm us. The Lernaean Hydra's influence extends far beyond its origins in ancient Greek mythology, leaving a lasting imprint on modern culture in a variety of forms. This enduring legacy speaks to the power and versatility of the Hydra as a symbol, one that can be adapted to reflect contemporary concerns, narratives, and artistic expressions. Today, the Hydra continues to appear in literature, film, television, video games, and even in political discourse, each time embodying new meanings and resonating with different aspects of the human experience. In literature, the Hydra often serves as a metaphor for complex and intractable problems, particularly those that seem to grow worse the more one tries to solve them. This metaphor is especially potent in political and social commentary, where the Hydra represents issues like corruption, terrorism, or systemic inequality. These Hydra-headed problems resist easy solutions, mirroring the mythological creature's regenerative abilities. In this context, the Hydra is not just a monster, but a symbol of the challenges that societies face when confronting deeply entrenched issues. This literary use of the Hydra allows authors and commentators to explore the complexities of modern life, where every action can have unintended consequences and simple solutions are often inadequate. The Hydra's presence in popular literature is also prominent in the fantasy genre, where it often appears as a formidable adversary for heroes to overcome. Writers like J.K. Rowling and Rick Riordan have incorporated the Hydra into their works, using it to add layers of danger and tension to their stories. In these narratives, the Hydra is usually depicted as a nearly invincible beast, its many heads and regenerative powers making it a symbol of the relentless and overwhelming nature of evil. This use of the Hydra taps into the creature's mythological roots, while also allowing authors to explore themes of heroism, sacrifice, and the struggle against seemingly impossible odds. In film and television, the Hydra has been adapted in various ways, often serving as a powerful antagonist in fantasy and adventure stories. One of the most well-known modern interpretations of the Hydra is its appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, where it is reimagined as a sinister organization named Hydra. This organization, much like the mythological beast, is depicted as a pervasive and resilient threat, one that grows stronger and more dangerous each time it is attacked. The use of the Hydra in this context not only pays homage to the original myth, but also reflects contemporary fears about the persistence of evil and the challenges of combating deeply entrenched corruption and tyranny. The MCU's Hydra organization is emblematic of how the Hydra myth can be adapted to fit modern narratives, transforming the creature's physical attributes into symbolic representations of modern threats. The organization's motto, "Cut off one head, two more shall take its place," directly references the Hydra's regenerative abilities and reinforces the idea that some threats are almost impossible to eradicate. This modern reinterpretation of the Hydra myth has been highly successful, resonating with audiences who recognize the parallels between the fictional organization and real-world issues like terrorism, authoritarianism, and the challenges of fighting against systemic corruption. In video games, the Hydra often appears as a challenging boss character, one that requires players to think strategically to defeat. Games like God of War and Dark Souls feature the Hydra as a formidable enemy, drawing on its mythological traits to create a sense of dread and urgency. In these games, the Hydra's regenerative powers and multiple heads are translated into gameplay mechanics, where players must find creative ways to defeat the beast, often by targeting its vulnerabilities or using specific strategies to prevent it from regenerating. This use of the Hydra in video games highlights the creature's role as a symbol of resilience and challenge, forcing players to adapt and overcome in order to succeed. The Hydra's influence also extends into the realm of psychology, where it is used as a metaphor for dealing with complex and recurring psychological issues. In this context, the Hydra represents problems like anxiety, trauma, or addiction, which can often feel like they multiply and grow stronger when confronted directly. The concept of a Hydra-headed problem in psychology suggests that some issues require more than just surface-level solutions. They need to be addressed at their root, with a comprehensive approach that prevents them from resurfacing in new forms. This psychological interpretation of the Hydra reflects the creature's symbolic connection to the idea of persistent challenges that require careful and strategic handling. In the political sphere, the Hydra is often invoked as a symbol of the difficulties in eradicating deeply rooted corruption or systemic problems. Political commentators and analysts might describe certain issues as Hydra-like to emphasize their complexity and the way they resist resolution. For example, efforts to dismantle organized crime, fight terrorism, or address institutional corruption can often feel like battling a Hydra, where each victory leads to new challenges. This political use of the Hydra metaphor underscores the creature's enduring relevance as a symbol of resilience and the often frustrating nature of efforts to bring about meaningful change. The Hydra's symbolic power also extends to discussions of technology and modern warfare. In the digital age, the Hydra has been used as a metaphor for cyber threats, where attacks and vulnerabilities seem to multiply the more they are addressed. Just as the Hydra's heads grow back stronger after being cut off, cyber threats can adapt and evolve, making them difficult to eliminate entirely. This modern interpretation of the Hydra reflects the challenges of living in a world where technology and security are constantly evolving, and where new threats can emerge as quickly as old ones are neutralized. In contemporary art and media, the Hydra continues to be a powerful symbol, representing the themes of persistence, complexity, and the struggle against overwhelming odds. Artists and creators often use the Hydra's image to explore these themes in new and innovative ways, whether through visual art, literature, or digital media. The Hydra's enduring presence in modern culture speaks to its versatility as a symbol, one that can be adapted to fit a wide range of narratives and contexts. The Hydra's impact on modern culture is a testament to the power of myth and the ways in which ancient stories continue to resonate with contemporary audiences. The creature's symbolic associations with chaos, resilience, and the persistence of evil make it a compelling figure in both historical and modern narratives. Whether as a metaphor for psychological challenges, a symbol of political corruption, or a formidable adversary in fantasy stories, the Hydra remains a potent reminder of the complexities of life and the challenges that come with confronting the unknown. In conclusion, the Lernaean Hydra's legacy in modern culture is vast and multifaceted, reflecting the creature's deep symbolic resonance across different fields and contexts. From literature and film to psychology and politics, the Hydra continues to serve as a powerful symbol of the challenges that persist in the face of adversity, the dangers of underestimating complex problems, and the need for perseverance and strategic thinking in the face of overwhelming odds. Its presence in modern culture underscores the timeless nature of myth and the ways in which ancient stories continue to inform and inspire contemporary thought. The Hydra's enduring influence is a testament to the power of mythology to transcend time and culture, offering insights and symbols that remain relevant to this day.